This week, a number of content creators got their hands on the beta build of Warhammer 40k Darktide, the upcoming looter shooter that is due to be released on November the 30th. To save you watching the hours of gameplay that have been released, here are the 6 things you need to know about the game. A link to any videos I've used are included in the description below. Please do check these content creators out. In Darktide, you play a prisoner who is working off their sentence by taking back the hive city of Tertium from the hordes of bloodthirsty foes, or die trying. Tertium is a hard and unforgiving place at the best of times, and Fact Shark have done an excellent job of portraying this dark, gritty, oppressive world. On top of that, the sound design perfectly complements this to create an incredibly immersive world for us to play in. The aesthetics are pure Warhammer 40k. They have got this spot on. Force Gaming was literally gushing about how well this game plays, and the overall consensus is that Fat Shark have absolutely nailed it. AAA quality gameplay, which Force just couldn't stop playing. The precursor to this game, Warhammer Vermintide, was predominantly a melee based game, and that certainly comes through in the gameplay footage we've seen, but gunplay is now more of a feature, and apparently it is as good as the excellent melee. The gameplay encourages the weaving of melee range and skills through the varied enemies that it throws at you, and there are a good number of these, including basic melee heretics, gunners, snipers, axe-wielding knights, flamethrowers, grenadiers, a variety of Ogren, exploders, trappers with CC nets, dogs, and mini-bosses that appear throughout some levels. In Darktide, you begin by creating your character from scratch, a change from the preset characters of Vermintide. You choose your backstory, customize your look, and choose a class. The developers are really looking for this to spark a personal attachment with your character, all of whom will look like they are part of the world of the 41st millennium. Rugged, worn, scarred, and tattooed. Boy bands need not apply here. The character customization systems were described as in-depth as an MMO, and just awesome. There are 4 unique classes in the game with their own skill trees. Your Grim Skullbreaker with their heavy weapons. The Veteran Sharpshooter, essentially a soldier who gets bonuses to aim and headshot damage. The Zealot's Preacher, a close-range melee character who gets stronger when in combat. And the Psychokinetic, who has the ability to make your enemies' heads explode. But overdo this, and you blow yourself up. These all have unique abilities, passives, auras, which affect the entire group, and skill trees. Weapons are also locked for certain classes, making them even more unique. The variety and replayability of classes is looking really good, albeit Force Gaming did note that class progression did feel a little slow in terms of leveling up. The interaction, the banter between the classes was noted by pretty much everyone as being spot on, and really adds to the character development. Rather than being completely random, lines are linked to the circumstances and locations within missions, so should be rarely repeated. This game is very much a team game, much more so than Nevertide. Shields, for example, are more powerful and regenerate when in close proximity to your teammates, encouraging you to work together. Well, those are the good things that jumped out to me, but there were some negatives. A number of red flags jumped up around the long-term replayability of the game. There only seems to be a fairly limited number of missions to complete. Force Gaming mentioned 12, of which only 4 were available at one time. Replayability comes from tackling these missions on higher difficulty levels, which, given they are the same each time, no procedural generation here, could become very repetitive. The game also seems to be very linear in its design, even within missions, which seem to actively encourage you to complete the main mission without exploring the large levels, as there is no incentive to do so. The core gameplay loop seems to be very limited. Select mission, complete mission, collect rewards, and repeat. There is a contract vendor which has specific objectives to these missions and rewards you with currency to buy epic and legendary gear, but overall this does seem to be too shallow to keep most players returning for more. Now, we may well see more missions being added to the game through DLC as we delve deeper and deeper into the Hive City, but this is something to look out for in the final release. Speaking of vendors, this does seem to be the only way that you can gear up. One of the things that we all love about looter shooters bonuses is when that legendary weapon drops from an enemy in game, and for me personally, relegating this to a purchase takes some of the shine off it. From what we have seen, boss battles seem to be just a pure DPS check, with no real mechanics to note. That is going to make them very boring. For what is very much a cooperative team game, this is very disappointing. To be fair, we are talking about only a small portion of the game, and so what we have not yet seen may be much better. Finally, Matty Plays really flagged that currently the game is very buggy on PC, and he and his group were hit by regular crashes. With only 45 days to go until the PC launch, this screams the need for more optimization, polishing and bug fixing. Delaying the game may be the best thing right now. If the game does come out on November the 30th, the best thing might be to wait until these have all been addressed. Overall, the response to Darktide was very positive. A great game with lots of potential, which maybe needs a little more time to be finished. If they address the red flags in the final launch version, we could have a top tier addition to the loot shooter genre on our hands. I'm also very conscious that this is just a beta version of the game, so there's much more we have yet to see. Plus it seems very likely we'll get DLC for the game, which may add more content and classes, increasing its lifespan considerably. If you are looking for a great looter shooter, check out this video here, and don't forget to loot the legendary subscribe button below.